Hasan Piker runs and hides because communism would not survive an encounter with the far right. It just wouldn't.
I'm sorry, what? Did he just say communism would not survive an encounter with the far right? Hold on. Wait a minute. What the f is this guy talking about, dude? Communism would not survive an interaction with the far right? Scoreboard, bitch. What the f do you mean communism would not survive an interaction with the far right? Is this guy such a Holocaust denier that he just like denies that World War II even happened? Is that what we're doing now? That's crazy.
All that sentimentalism, all that sappy, bleeding heart about free healthcare. Okay, we'll give you free healthcare too. I don't really care that much. I want to close the borders. I want to stop being harassed on the train. I want to be able to live in most of the city and not have to be a war zone. I don't want to have our country run by an Israeli fifth column, a Jewish fifth column. You would not survive that encounter, and you know that. And Hasan knows that if there were ever a dialogue, an ongoing dialogue, or even just a sit down, that whole fantasy, this bourgeois champagne socialism would not survive an encounter with an actual real American. With an actual real American.
Dog, I'm Turkish. You're Hispanic. We're both American. Our existence on U.S. soil contradicts the fundamental argument that you're presenting. What are you talking about? What the f is this talking about?
That's a son of working class people. And that's like the delicious and rich irony is that Hasan is a Nepo baby. He's a
once again, he's a Nepo baby. Brother, my perspective, my worldview would, if what you're saying is correct, would place me as a class traitor. You, on the other hand, are advocating for erasure of yourself. You're Hispanic, and you are advocating for the destruction of yourself, the removal of yourself from U.S. soil.
Millionaire Nepo baby who's on all the mainstream platforms. How did he get his start in media? His uncle. And this is a guy lecturing us about generational wealth. Why don't we redistribute the Young Turks media opportunities? How about...
Okay, fine.
We redistribute...
Doesn't seem like that would put a dent in the system, but once again, normally he has better arguments. Like when he's duking it out with Charlie Kirk, he can present a better argument because he can showcase that Charlie Kirk is actually, because he is the logical extension of like the advocacy that Charlie Kirk engages in. The reason why the likes of Charlie Kirk fear someone like Nick Fuentes is because it shows that Charlie Kirk is fraudulent, right? He is seen as more real. But when he comes after someone like myself, he has to desperately fling onto, in the same way that like Destiny criticizes me over, I don't know if they engaged in information sharing. I know they shared other things. Maybe they talked about their mutual hatred of someone such as myself while Nick Fuentes' dick was in Destiny's mouth. Who knows? Who knows? After a little bit of chicken and waffles, they did it over pillow talk, I think.
The Twitch subscriptions. So, as long as...
I like that the line of attack against me is always the same. Doesn't matter.
He's going to sit there and take shots from over there. Yeah, inside of that woke fantasy.
Also, it is kind of funny because the one thing that Nick Fuentes can always present himself in order to showcase his like infallibility, his like moral authority on the subject matter, is the fact that, he's been debanked or he's been attacked and this and that. Like, these institutions have come after him. The ADL talks more about me than they do about you, dumbass. The Zionist groups in this country and newspapers that work alongside Hasbara initiatives write extensively demanding my deplatforming. You supported Donald Trump. Donald Trump's own Customs and Border Patrol detained me for my opinions on Israel. So he can't even hit me on he's not sincere about his advocacy for the Palestinians line of attack. So he just has to go back to this dumb shit like, oh, he's rich, but a socialist. That's it. That's it.
Land, They'll all be very confident in their ideology. But the reason that they don't want me to talk to Jimmy Dore, the reason they're screaming, he's a Nazi, but he said this, but he said that. Let him talk. We can talk.
The only counter narrative in this situation that he can apply, the only line of attack he can apply is like, oh, you're a bad guy. You're a hypocrite. You're rich but socialist. He knows that that's not a real line of attack anyway. You know, he can't do it. He's got nothing. So he says the exact same shit that like annoying liberals say. But yeah, New York Times profile Nick Fuentes as a growing threat to Trumpism includes this telling detail. I think the way that the New York Times is presenting Nick Fuentes as a growing threat to Trumpism is perhaps one of the most damaging things that they could have done in terms of like beefing up a white nationalist movement. I remember all the way back in 2016 when they wrote a glaring profile of Richard Spencer in a similar vein. I criticized it extensively, and the New York Times is back to its old tricks, you know? Classic. Incredible stuff. It's crazy that they're just like trying to prop him up. He's flip-flopped on his positions over and over again. Okay? He has not changed. He is still a Nazi. As a matter of fact, the real reason he doesn't like you, you're not anti-Semitic, you don't talk about the Jews. Left,
these guys are just like effective at this point.
Hasan Piker finally worked up the courage to invoke Nick's name today. Fuentes responds by spending 6 minutes destroying the far left. These guys are just effective at this point.
I don't even think they know why they do what they do. You know, and the reason that the far left is threatened by me is because I'm better than them. I'm going to take their market share. And you want to know why? Because I can talk about Jews. I can talk about black people. I can talk about trannies. I'm not beholden to a crowd of nut jobs that just can't talk about basic reality. You go on the far left, and some of the things I say appeal to them, like about Gaza and like about Israel and so on. But on the far left, you can't talk about Judaism.
What the I think he just means like, yeah, he's saying that like Israel is doing everything it's doing for Judaism, and it's the international Jewish conspiracy, that it's like international Jewish control. Like, oh yeah, dude, you are more successful, I guess, in your own estimation. It's not real, but in your mind, because you can make up conspiracies that are not correct. That's it. The reason why he's doing this is because he's worried.
You don't think that the far-right Jewish extremists in Israel, like Meir Kahane, who said that all non-Jews should be enslaved or killed, you don't think that has something to do with what's happening there? You don't think that
Wait, that's so funny. Yeah, dude, he's the same as you, dumbass. That's it. Yeah, the reason why I hate Meir Kahane and Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir is because they are you. They're you, but the Jewish version of you. That's it. Yeah, they're Nazis just like you are. A complete false sense of ethnic or religious superiority that they believe. That's the point. That's all this is. How do they not know after listening to him for more than a minute that he's a Nazi? Because people don't listen for a whole minute. Nobody listens for a whole minute. I brought this up in my video, on my YouTube video, that's been brigaded by his fans like nonstop. There are those like Candace Owens, there are those like Nick Fuentes out there whose fan bases operate in the exact same way that like my haters operate. But instead of like clipping it, my haters operate in this way where they clip me out of context and then they blast it everywhere, right? His fan base does the exact same thing. They clip him out of context to make him seem like he has a very palatable approach to issues that a lot of people agree on. And the most nefarious aspect of this is that because there is already an existing party within the duopoly that we have that reflects the far-right neo-Nazi style sentiment in its policymaking, in its agenda openly, that he can just masquerade this position as though it's just common sense. What is the difference between someone like Nick Fuentes and Fox News when Fox News yesterday was talking about how, you know, we really got to take a closer look at the real issue of interracial violence. Like they're just straight up doing the same